No voter could have known that the man they elected would only live to see another month after the election. William Henry Harrison was inaugurated as president in 1841, but on April 5th of that year, messengers bore the tragic news that the president had passed away to Virginia, where Vice President John Tyler resided. Harrison had been stricken by a case of pneumonia, ending his term of service long before it was up. Tyler was rushed back to Washington to be sworn in as the new President of the United States. Some argued that Article 2 of our Constitution was not very clear. While it stated that upon the death of the President, the same shall devolve upon the Vice President, what exactly qualified as the same? The duties or the title? Call a special election, they shouted. The House of Representatives held a special meeting to discuss whether Tyler could fill the shoes of Harrison, or whether he would only ever be acting as president, not president. The majority stood with the truth that Tyler was in fact the new president of the United States. A trend was born, and when the presidency abruptly falls upon our vice president, Article 2, Section 1, Paragraph 5 of the Constitution holds true. We have already established that the Constitution is a living document, and if it is indeed living, then it must evolve as all living things do. The constitutional delegates realized this, and therefore installed Article 2 of the Constitution. This article outlines the executive branch and several of its facets. After breaking the shackles of a king, the last thing the colonists wanted was an unregulated executive branch. Instead, an elected president would rule a country. But what if the president couldn't fulfill his duties? Who would step in? Paragraph 5 of Section 1 states that upon the removal of the president from office, or of his discharge or inability to discharge the powers of said office, the same shall devolve upon the vice president. There are three very basic requirements to become president. You must be at least 35 years of age, you must be a natural-born citizen of the United States, and you must have lived in the country for at least 14 years. Being president, however, is much more than age requirements or merely being a citizen of the country. It's holding an immense amount of power in the palm of your hand. Before John Tyler, vice presidents were often thought of as unimportant, and wrongfully so. Vice presidents are equally as important as their counterpart, even if they do not hold the same amount of power. Throughout our history, we have had 9 vice presidents step in, the first ever being the case of Harrison and Tyler back in 1841. 4 were the result of natural death, 4 the result of assassination, and 1 the result of resignation. If it's within our president's power to negotiate treaties with other nations, propose legislation, appoint judges to the Supreme Court, and declare war, then shouldn't our vice president and president both be able to hold those powers with the trust that we've instilled in them? Upon the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, Harry Truman was our new president. After Richard Nixon resigned, Gerald R. Ford was our new commander-in-chief. It's true. No American voted for Harrison back in 1841 thinking that his vice would have to step in. But our founding fathers safeguarded our country by creating Article 2 of our Constitution, establishing that the offices of president and vice president are so much more powerful than we could have ever envisaged. We must be diligent when giving power to any leader, and after such an oppressive rule from a monarch, our founding fathers knew that. And they knew that creating Article 2 would have a lasting impact well after the time of Harrison and Tyler. Thank you.